The national champion is clad in big orange.
The pitch. Swing and a miss. That's the ball game. The national champion is clad in big orange.
Pat Summit and Destiny have met 7 times before. Tonight is number 8.
Tennessee Volunteers have wrapped up an SEC outright regular season title. Connect with
the SEC runs through Rocky Top. Tennessee wins the SEC regular season crown for the 2nd consecutive season.
the 1-0. In the air, left center field. Cross on the move. Walk it there. Tennessee walks it off. It's a mismatch. Deep three. Come on now. And don't connect. Probably trying this time. Two-hand down the middle. Got it. On the fly. It's high and again. And he's going to take it. Touchdown, Tennessee.
Hey, how much fun is this?
Man, Rocky Top. This is college football and it's absolute best.
Man, you already know this is college athletics. It's absolute best, man. Welcome into another episode of the Fanatics Show. I'm Michael, my co-host Skylar. Skylar, man, how you doing on this last day of July?
Dude, I'm about ready for July to be over with for 2 reasons. One, fall camp has started, so you already know it's about that time. But I tell you what, it's still too hot for it to feel like that time. So
It's
I need
way too
July
hot.
to pass. I need August to get here. And more specifically, I'm ready for late August, man. When you wake up on them kind of like chilly mornings, but then it gets hot in the day. Like you have those 30-degree swings on the day-to-day. Dude, I'm still looking forward to that. But no, honestly, life is good. We get to wake up another day, talk a little bit about ball. We're live, so that means that it must be 8 Eastern on a Thursday night. And I could be more proud to be right here with you talking ball, man. Michael, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm just like you. You know, I'm tired of the heat. I'm ready for it to cool down some, which apparently it's supposed to do tomorrow. But you know what? Tomorrow starts football month. Like we will have football at the end of the month. College football is we don't care about professional football.
Just say technically, if you got that itch, there's football on tonight. I was told, so I don't watch it, but I was told there's football on right now.
You know what? I might just kind of check it out a little bit because VFL Hendon Hooker is starting tonight. So
I didn't know that, dude. I might have
Yes.
to tune in. Hold up. All right, might have to check it out then. Hold up. Come on now. No, Michael, man, we got a big show tonight. We have a couple shout outs. We got some things that we got to talk about that's happening over the last week or so. Everybody wants to talk about Boo. Everybody wants to talk about the quarterback competition. But before that, I want to let you guys know who our presenting sponsor is. And that is Chris Smith Insurance. You know, as a homeowner, Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company. So he started his own agency where instead of feeling like a big company is fighting against you, you'll know that your agent is fighting for you. All insurance is not equal. Trust the Chris Smith Insurance today. Give them a call right here in Oak Ridge at 865-272-3387. Again, guys, Chris ain't just going to find you that best coverage or that best rate, but he's also going to find you the best coverage so that, you know, when something does go south, you don't really have to sit there and worry about the stress of something not being covered. So, Chris, we appreciate your continued support of this channel. And if y'all ever need a quote or you change homes or something crazy happens, y'all give him a call and see if he can't help you guys out in that situation. So, Michael, give us the rundown, man. Like I kind of hinted toward it, like what we got to do today, but what's our 3 big segments on today?
So our 3 big segments today, we're going to talk about the wide receiver position group for Tennessee this year. I'm very excited to talk about this. A lot of hype around this group, but that's going to be segment 1. Segment 2, we're going to talk about Florida. We're going to look at the Florida schedule for this year, give our predictions on it. And then segment 3, we're going to look at LSU and kind of give our predictions on that as well. Before we get to segment 1, let's kind of do what we did last week. Let's talk a little bit. Let's talk about the Boo situation. Let's talk a little bit about that quarterback competition. Talk about a comment that has me ready to run through a brick wall that was made yesterday by a Tennessee freshman. But where do you want to start?
I mean, let's start with Boo. That's a hot topic, right? Boo he has made it to camp. I think that's huge news. I think that's big news. I think that's great news for the University of Tennessee. Now, a lot of people kind of have some backlash on that. Like, I think they're taking that whole like nobody's bigger than the T comment a little bit too much to heart, because although I agree nobody's bigger than the power of T, I simply think this had nothing to do with like NIL negotiation. I don't think he feels like he's bigger than the T. I think he just has maybe an attitude adjustment, right? You know, he's a kid.
An attitude adjustment, and he needs to grow up some.
Exactly.
He's still young. He's a true sophomore.
Yep, has to mature a little bit, right? So he showed up. He is showing up to practice, but you can kind of tell he's got a long way to go before he's back on the team for sure. It has been reported, and it's official, that Boo will kind of warm up with the team, but everybody's wearing pads. He's not. And when everybody goes outside to go practice, he stays inside. He's conditioning and whatnot. Like, you can kind of tell he's very much secluded from the team at the practices. And in my opinion, I think the coaches are doing it as more of as an embarrassment as it is like a really hard drill or anything like that. I think they want him to kind of make sure that he's not going to do this again, right? And you don't want to work the kid to death to where he just gives up, quits, and says, screw you guys, I'm out of here, right? So you can't necessarily just make him run all day, every day. But they're putting him in situations that's kind of embarrassing, right? You know, everybody else is getting to play some ball, and he's really not been able to do that. But it is unclear how long that road's going to be before he gets on. But I think that all depends on Boo and how he handles the day-to-day and his attitude. So that's the latest I've heard. Michael, do you have anything to add on that?
No, I mean, just basically what you said. I did see video to where he is, he is warming up with the team, but where everybody else is wearing helmets, Boo doesn't have helmets on. I don't think any of the team right now has pads on, just because they got to go through that period first without pads. But it is helmets, it's jerseys, no pads to my knowledge. But there was video yesterday of him warming up with the team with no helmets. And then, as you said, Skylar, once the rest of the team kind of goes outside to do their drills and stuff, he's going inside, conditioning, things like that. But I think you're 100% correct. How long Boo is going to be out is going to depend on Boo. If he's going to take it in stride and he shows that he's all in for the team, I think that quote-unquote sentence that he's under right now is going to be lessened. But if he just has a bad attitude towards it, Josh Heupel and company, they don't have any problems extending that, because I mean, they've got guys that are there, they're bought in for the team, and they're willing to go out there and give their all every single day. And if Boo isn't, then we might not see him on the field this year.
Well, and that's where I think as a fan it's hard, because I know Boo on the field would give his all. I think he's going to play his heart out when he's on the field, but at the end of the day, in order to earn your teammates' respect and love and whatnot, is you got to show up every day, even when people are not watching, right? Like you gotta show up, you gotta grind, you gotta be there, you gotta earn your teammates' trust, know that you're gonna be there no matter what. And I think he's kind of failed to do that over the summer, which I think for Boo, as much as he's got to win the fans back over, I think he's got to win his teammates back over. So that's kind of the process with that situation there. But he is here, he's not leaving. It made no sense in my mind, even before like we got the official word. It made no sense in my mind for him to leave, because he couldn't play anywhere, and Boo's not going to sit a whole year just to transfer. And the change of agencies or whatever that he did, change of agents, I think that kind of got blown out of proportion. He did change agents, but I don't think it had anything to do with the deals that he was trying to negotiate, because he didn't really negotiate a deal. It just, like I said, attitude adjustment, maybe need to mature a little bit, but overall he's here, he's with the team. But clearly secluded from the team. Like it's a very obvious that he is not practicing, and he's not 100% on the team again, or back on the team yet, until I think he proves to his teammates and his coaches that he's locked in and ready to rock. So another thing that I want to bring up, pivot there for a second. I want to kind of update the folks on the status of Gerard McCoy. Yeah. Everybody's asking, like, is he going to be ready for game one? Is he going to be ready for the Georgia game? When's he coming back? And guys, I'm going to be harsh, just like I was several weeks back when I think me and Malik was on the show, and we kind of talked about it very vaguely if he was going to be ready. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I don't think you're going to see Gerard McCoy anytime soon. He's still in the recovery process. And what sucks about Gerard McCoy's situation is everybody's comparing it to Zakai Ziegler, freak athlete who was able to come back from his ACL injury in like 7 months. It was insane, his recovery. Now, in saying that, there's different situations, right? Basketball, you cut a lot, but it's a consistent floor, right? And in football, you're cutting a lot. You also could be tackling somebody, which is adding pressure to that knee or whatever. And on top of that, you're either on turf or grass. Like there's there's variances that kind of defer on why Gerard McCoy may take a little longer, but I want to pose the question, Michael.
All right.
Will we even see Gerard McCoy this year?
I believe we will.
Okay.
I think he's too much of a competitor that he's not going to just completely sit out. Now, the question becomes, and for those that are hardcore listeners of this show that follow us, I wrote an article on Gerard McCoy that I believe came out yesterday. I scheduled a bunch of them earlier this week, and I think that one came out yesterday. The question is he going to be back to that All-American type form that he was at last year? And you never know with an ACL injury. He could come back and be better than ever. He could be better than he was last year, which is saying a lot. He was good last year. But with an ACL injury, you could also just not be completely healed up. You might take a step back, in which his draft stock would take a step back as well. So I do think we're going to see Gerard McCoy this year. Now, people want to see him at the beginning of the season. They want to see him by the Georgia game. I don't know if we're going to see that.
No, I believe if the schedule works out the way it does, it's 5 games and then a bye week right before, was it maybe Bama or something like that?
I think it's Arkansas after that.
That's right.
Bye
That's
week.
right.
Yeah.
And then maybe Bama or something like that. I can't remember where the bye week's at, but it would make sense for him to stay out until the bye week. On a realistic timeline. You know what I mean? Like, there's no sense in rushing him back if he's not 100% healthy, in my opinion. And to your point, will he be back to that All-American caliber? It's going to be hard for me to say yes, only because it's not that I doubt him. It's that people expect it now. So they're going to game plan around it. When they know that he's back in the game, like, they're going to make sure that they're going to implement offensive schemes that go away from Gerard McCoy. So it's going to be hard knowing that when offenses are kind of scheming around that and you still being able to be that productive. I mean, I love for it to happen, but I mean, just being real here and a fan, I just don't know. I mean, I'm not going to expect it. I love the additions that we made in the secondary. I do feel like if Boo can lock in and then we get Gerard McCoy back in the second half of the season, the secondary could be one of the best in the country. And that's even with the question marks at safety. I'm telling you, with the defensive line that we're going to have this year, the linebacker play that we're going to have, the experience that we have back there, it might be the easiest the secondary's ever had to play, under the Hypo era. So I don't know, man. But I just wanted to bring up the boot situation, Gerard McCoy, and then I guess lastly, man, it's the quarterback competition, right?
Yep. Quarterback competition. I guess my first question to you.
Yeah,
and we kind of discussed it, just me and you earlier.
Bro, shoot, come on.
Who do you think sitting here today is going to win the job?
It's going to be Joey Aguilar, without a doubt. And I do mean it without a doubt. I think Jake Merklinger is really good, and I think he's going to be great for Joey's development, right? And I'm not even going to skip past GMAC. I mean, GMAC's and Jake Merklinger both top 10, top 5 quarterbacks respectfully in their class. I think Jake might have been number 6 or number 7, but GMAC was right there, like top 4 quarterback of their class. I mean, look, Joey Aguilar is going to have to work for it, but I think he came into the Tennessee knowing that it's not going to be given to him. But at the end of the day, with the experience that Joey has and the way he's been able to implement himself into this team, into this offense, the way he's been able to build those relationships up, all he's got to do is win over his teammates and practice. And I think he's got the ability to win the starting job pretty easily. I think this coaching staff, not really a big surprise. They're going to go after experience rather than youth, even if youth has the greater talent. Just because, I don't know, but you've seen Josh Heupel do that over and over and over again. And I think they brought in Joey because they seen something in him that kind of lights the fire a little bit in an offense. And if they can get that out of him, and if they can fix the turnover prone issues, which I understand is an issue, but you look at some of the situations he was put in at App State, I mean, he was just trying to give his boys a chance. I mean, like, he's running for his life, throwing the ball up in the air, defense, like he's just trying to make plays when his defense wasn't helping him at all. So I think you put him in a system that you've got guys all the way around him. And he's even kind of admitted in a press conference that he was like, what's it like coming to Tennessee's locker room versus UCLA? He's talking about like the difference of athletes in the room. And he didn't even answer. He was like, man, I don't even know how to answer that, because he even knows that the dudes at Tennessee are just that much better. Right. And so you surround them with those type of caliber athletes, which Josh Heupel's done an amazing job, even with the scholarship restrictions that he's had over the last 4 years. Just man, the blue chip ratio is building every year, and you get Joey Aguilar some time. I think this offensive line is actually going to be kind of decent as long as they stay healthy. So that gives me another little glimpse of hope. But I think Joey Aguilar sitting here today will be your starter coming August. Is it 30th? What was the first game? 29th? I don't know. 30th. I think
August
it's
30th.
31st. I don't know. Whatever. There's
Yeah,
not 31
August
days in
30th.
August. What am I doing?
Yeah, there
All
is
right.
31 days in August.
There is?
Yeah,
No, there's 31 days in July, big dog.
and in August.
January, February. No, I'm not going to do that, but maybe. All right.
Yeah.
I don't
31
know.
days in August.
I work so much that, dude, it's just like I wake up and it's like, oh, look at that. It's still July, dude. So, my
And
bad.
those 7 viewers we have on here, and then the however many we have on TikTok, they're all gone now. So anyway,
It's totally fine,
no,
man.
but
We're
but
live.
I
Can't hide
think
that.
I think I agree with you that Joey is going to win the job, but I'm not as confident that it's going to be a runaway like what you're thinking. I think that Jake Merklinger is going to be the guy that really give Joey a run for his money. But ultimately, I do think that experience is going to win out, and Joey's got more experience at the college level than Merklinger does. I know he doesn't have that Power 5 experience, but he's got the experience on the field, and we pretty much know what we're going to get from Joey, even with the turnover issues that I think are going to be fixed with Josh Heupel. But we're not 100% sure what we're going to get from Merklinger. I've got a pretty good idea it's going to be good, no matter who's at quarterback, whether it's Aguilar, Merklinger, or McIntyre. But I think Aguilar wins it out. I'm not going to guarantee that he's the starter the entire season.
I don't, yeah, and that's a fair assessment. I think you're on the track or right track of, I mean, even if Aguilar wins it outright, Josh Heupel is going to make it seem like it's a lot tighter than that, right? Like he's not going to tell you who's the starting quarterback. I feel like Josh Heupel is not going to tell you who the starting quarterback is until like the day before the game. But in saying that, I really don't care who wins the job as long as they're confident, as long as they know the offense and they can run it without, I guess the play calling being restricted or whatever. Conservative, I guess is the best way I can say. I don't want that. Like unlock this offense. Let's get back to going fast and let's score some points. Like I don't care who's operating the offense as long as they're comfortable and confident in doing that. And I do think Joey has seemed to be bringing out that confidence a little bit more than the other two. But who knows, man? I'm excited to see it regardless. So.
Yeah, so last thing I have, because we're already 18 minutes into this and hadn't even got into the meat and potatoes of our content.
Come on, man. I mean, we'll do
last
the
thing I have
pretty
that
fast. We'll get out of here.
I'm gonna say last thing that I have that I'm about to make me want to run through a brick wall. For those that watch the Eric Ainge show, you already know this. The comments made by true freshman Ethan Utley yesterday at the press conference. He said, and I quote, "This freshman class this year has shown up, shut up, and gotten to work this year." That's either going to give you chill bumps or that's going to make you want to run through a brick wall. And I'm the latter right now.
To backpack that, Josh Heupel in his presser to open up fall camp, when he said young guys don't have time to be young, that kind of got me fired up because that shows me you're going to see Travis Smith. You're going to see some of these younger guys, Rodarius Jackson. I'm telling you, you're going to see some of these younger guys on the defensive line especially. Like, dude, we're going to need them too. I think that's the biggest thing is like Josh Heupel saying something like that. That's not coach speak. That's like him challenging his. And I think another thing is you're seeing in the media right now, he's literally only allowing freshmen to speak right now to the media. So he's really trying to get them out in front of it, trying to grow them up, mature them up. And I think he's doing it for two reasons. One, he didn't do that with last class, and you're seeing a little bit of, you see, Nico leaving, doing his thing. You see Boo kind of doing his thing. So I think maybe it's like a culture thing where he wants to make sure that kids are locked in. But regardless, yeah, that quote was nice. And Josh Heupel, just hearing the way that he's treating the freshmen like he would be treating the juniors and whatnot. Like, I just feel like that means a lot to the freshmen too. I think it's going to help them on the recruiting trail, and which picked up a 5-star athlete today. So, no, Josh Heupel's cooking on all levels. It is officially football time in Tennessee. Fall camp has started. Today was day 2, and we'll keep giving you guys the update weekly. Now, we were kind of late to some of the news, but we don't like to be news breakers. We just like to relay the news as we go live every Thursday. And without further ado, Michael, let's get on with what we're going to be talking about in segment 1, which is our wide receiver preview. And if you would do the honors of giving us who our segment 1 sponsor is.
Yes, our segment 1 sponsor, you already know it is Optimal Asbestos Services. Optimal Asbestos Services offers detailed asbestos inspections and air quality assessments. Whether you're looking to secure your home or workplace, you can trust Optimal Asbestos Services to deliver thorough and reliable solutions. You can contact Jeff Bull at 865-223-3297 for your consultation today, or go on the web at optimalasbestosservices.com. So let's get right into Tennessee wide receiver group this season. And, I might be saying this wrong, or I might just be completely wrong in my thought process. But in my opinion, this group right here has the biggest gap from top to bottom. And what I mean by that is this can either be the best position group that Tennessee has on the team this year, or they could be the worst. There's so many unknowns especially because of the production from last year's squad. Last year's squad, because of the depth and the people in the room, they were expected to be one of the best wide receiver cores in the SEC coming into the season, and they just fell flat, whether it be from the wide receivers themselves, from the quarterback, any number of things. Coming into this year, there's a lot of talent. Most of it is young talent, but I think it's talent. I think it's talent that can be far and away better from anything that we expected last year, but also it can take even a step back from last year's squad. Am I wrong in saying that?
I'm going to stick to my guns and say it ever since January, really. I think you're going to see a lot of names that you're not familiar with if you're a fan that's not really plugged in recruiting this year at the wide receiver position. I still think the production is going to be a lot better. I do. And
I think it will too.
And that's not even just a dig at Nico. I think because of the talent, even though it's inexperienced talent, I think because of the talent, you're going to see our wide receivers just win a lot more ones and catch the ball. I mean, for goodness sake, I'm sitting here watching some of the older games. I think it was Florida, maybe even Alabama, and I'm going to call him out, but Squirrel White, I mean, several wide open balls that I know he was battling shoulder injury and whatnot, but like, dude, just catch the ball. Like, holy moly, going straight through your hands. Chris Brazzell, I mean, several drops. Chaz Nimrod drops. Chaz is weird, man. He'd catch some balls that you're like, how in the world did he catch that? And then some that would hit him right in the chest and he'd drop it. So, kind of like a Ramel Keaton-ish type of wide receiver where you just got a lot of inconsistency out of him. I think this year you're going to have that consistency out of wide receiver room. I'm excited to see it. And like I said, the only two names that you might even be familiar with is going to be Chris Brazzell and Mike Matthews, right?
Which, by the way, Chris Brazzell right now is injured. He's not even practicing right now. He's dealing with an injury. So that leads the way for some other names, but you're 100% right. The names that most people might be familiar with is Mike Matthews, and it is Chris Brazzell. Now, I think that Mike Matthews is going to have a year where he's going to step up this year, and he's going to have himself a fantastic year. But let me tell you who is somebody that I am super, super excited about coming into this season.
Who is it, big dog?
It's Braylon Staley. Braylon Staley was a guy that a lot of people wanted to see hit the field last year, and for whatever reason, he didn't get to see the field as much, whether it be because of his inexperience, because of the guys that were in front of him. He just couldn't quite hit that next level of the depth chart to see the field. But I'm super excited about Braylon Staley this year, and I think he's going to have himself a fantastic season at wide receiver this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Another guy who's kind of been battling injury, but the transfer from Alabama, Amari Jefferson. Yeah. If he can stay healthy, find some consistency, he's only a redshirt freshman, but he kind of feels like a veteran of the room. I know that sounds wild, but guys, that's just how young the room is this year. So Amari Jefferson is going to be another guy to keep an eye out on for a guy who is a second-year guy. Again, like I said, a transfer from Alabama, a guy that you were kind of neck and neck with Alabama in the recruitment trail. He went to Alabama his first year, and I don't know if he did decommit or did he commit, go to Alabama for a year, and then he transferred to Tennessee after a year, didn't he?
Yeah, he was at Alabama for a year. I think he got a little bit of playing time, but not a lot. And
He
decided to
committed in
transfer to
December.
Tennessee.
He did, I mean, he's it feels like he's been on the team a lot longer than he has. But yeah, this year you're going to see Amari Jefferson.
But this is a guy that he's from Chattanooga. He went to Baylor School in Chattanooga, so he's a Tennessee kid. And if I'm not mistaken, it came down to Tennessee and Alabama, and he originally chose Alabama, went there for a year, and then that's whenever he transferred to Tennessee.
Yep. Injured his hip. He ended up redshirting there at Alabama, transferred over, and then but I mean, I'm gonna pivot back to you, Michael, on this. I wanna see who you go after next, because this is just how thin the room is at wide receiver this year. Other than freshmen that we are very high on, by the way, and we're gonna talk about them. Who is the next veteran guy that you think would actually have an impact on the wide receiver room this year?
I mean, one doesn't just completely stand out to me. You do have, and really, he's new to the room itself. You've got Deion Harden, the transfer from JUCO. He's a 6 foot, 178 pound junior. You might see him in there, but you know what? I haven't heard a whole lot from him. But other than that, there's not really a quote veteran guy that really stands out to me. Everybody else is freshmen. And when I say freshman, I mean true freshman. And while I've got the floor here, I'm going to throw out the one that I am the most excited about. And I might be taking your name here, but Rodarius Jackson.
Yeah.
The true freshman from Memphis, Tennessee. He's a 6'2", 210-pound wide receiver. He has been showing up and showing out every single day of practice, showed up in the spring game, excited a lot of people. I'm super excited about this guy, and he's definitely going to see the field this year.
Yeah, Rodarius Jackson's already making highlights on the practice field. I'll tell you another one, though. And probably
going with it.
I mean, you know who it is. It's Travis Smith Jr.
Yeah.
His name even sounds like a guy that that needs to be a 5-star Heisman contending wide receiver. Blitnikoff at least. Travis Smith is a guy, as a freshman, he's 6'3", 207-pound freshman. What a freak of an athlete to be a freshman in college and be 6'2", 210, basically. As a wide receiver, really good speed. If his hands can come around and he can grasp this offense, Travis Smith will be on the field a lot, especially pending. You know how the wide receiver room is, man. And I hate to just kind of put that negative juice on it, but you're gonna have injuries in that room. It's part of it. It's part of the game. So you're gonna have to build up this depth in this wide receiver room really quickly, because I believe we've only really mentioned 6 players, and 3 of them are freshmen or redshirt freshmen.
Yeah.
4 of them, maybe, actually. 2. Yeah, there's 2 redshirt freshmen and 2 true freshmen. So, I mean, gonna have to, young guys ain't got time to be young, right? Like that's part of it. And gonna have to see something out of that. There's a third, I think, freshman that we haven't mentioned yet that I think is turning heads. Do you want to have the honors on that third one?
It's got to be Joakim Dotson, does it not?
It absolutely is.
Another Memphis kid. This guy's probably going to be battling for that slot position. And he's a talented kid as well from the Baylor School in Memphis. I'm really excited about all these guys. But the biggest thing about this room, we've already said it, there's a whole lot of talent there. There's not a lot of experience. And that's why I feel like it's got the biggest gap of they can be really talented. They can really show up this year and be super productive, but they can also be on the other side of the spectrum. And it could honestly, just being real here, they could be worse than last year's group as far as production goes. I don't think that's going to happen. I tend to think that they're going to be really good production wise this year, but that's why I say this is the biggest gap overall for a position group for Tennessee this year.
I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be worse in production, but I think you could see a lot of 2 tight end personnel. where you have just two receivers, two tight ends, and a running back, and that's how you run your offense. Because I could see Ethan Davis taking a step, and then Miles Kitselman as well. And Ethan Davis is a great receiving tight end anyways. So Miles Kitselman, you've seen flashes of him being able to do the same thing too. So if you don't see that production out of your wide receiver room, or you don't see those guys grasping the offense so quickly, it's not going to be out of the realm of possibility to see Tennessee running a lot of two tight ends, which I think helps the running game though, honestly. If you can get your tight ends in the passing game, that's a plus. But Deshaun Bishop, we'll talk about the running backs down the road, but I mean that three-headed monster that we all know and talk about, if they could have two tight ends in the game and it not be like an obvious running situation, it could be dangerous for that running back room. I think they would love that. But yeah, man, wide receiver room really shallow, but I do think the talent there is better than probably we've had ever as a whole.
Yeah,
and I hate to say it like that,
think
because that kind of sounds like I'm throwing shade at some other wide receivers, and I'm not. It's just, man, they're a young room, but I'm telling you that these guys are high 4-star, low 5-star, or not low 5-star, but 5-star, high 4-star type guys. I mean, Mike Matthews, I think, like you said, is primed to have a big year. If Chris Brazzell can get healthy, Braylon Staley, I do think that's your three-headed monster. But then you go from there. You got Amari Jefferson, and then you got your three freshmen, and then you do have the transfer of Deion Harden. Like, I guess when you look at it like that, and you're only running 2 to 3 wide receivers at a time, you do have the depth there. You have a comfortable two-man rotation at every single spot. But overall, man, you're just gonna have to rely on as every group, gonna have to rely on health.
Here's my thing that I need to see from the wide receiver group this year is I need to see guys that they're not just there to play one position. How many times in the last couple of years have we seen wide receivers that their backup is somebody that can only play the Z wide receiver, or they can only play slot wide receiver? We need guys that can go out and they know how to play each and every single wide receiver position group that's there. That way, your most talented guy can be that next guy that comes in instead of, and I'm not throwing shade at this guy by no means, but Mike Matthews has got more talent than Chaz Nimrod. He should have come in different situations instead of Chaz Nimrod, but because Nimrod knew this position and Mike Matthews didn't know it that well, Nimrod was the one that we saw on the field instead of Matthews. So I want to see wide receivers that can play multiple positions in the wide receiver group, so your most talented guys are on the field and not just the next guy up in this depth piece.
I agree, and that comes in the film room. That comes putting pen to paper and learning the offense. I mean, look at when you're open to being versatile. One, it helps your chances on getting on the field regardless, and that's no matter what position you play, offense, defense, doesn't matter. If you know what everybody else is doing on the field and on any given play, you prove to yourself and the coaches that you grasp and understand the concepts. And so, look at Jalen Hyatt, man. When he played outside, production wasn't that great. But when he moved to slot, my God. And not every player is going to be able to move to slot and do that. But just being versatile enough and knowing the offense enough to be able to make a change like that for the betterment of the team and yourself. And like a secondary, the safeties know exactly what the cornerbacks are doing. Cornerbacks know exactly what the safeties are doing, nickel, whatever, you name it. And when they understand that, and they know like where somebody's supposed to, and you're going to see it, I think, because the youth in the team, you're going to see early on against Syracuse players lining up other players on the defense. And that's when you know that a player gets it. That's when you see that leadership come out in full force. And I just think it's a no-brainer on just knowing not just your job. I know in football that gets said all the time by the coaches is just do your job. But like at the end of the day, you need to do your job and know exactly what your teammate's supposed to be doing too. That way you can pick him up if he does make a mistake. So no, this wide receiver room, I still think I'm expecting big things of them. But you're right. I mean, one swift move here or there, or injury here or there, or maybe just falling short of expectation here and there, this room could get kind of messy quick. But I still think it'd be for the good, because even if you have that fallout of production, maybe Mike Matthews is like average, but like nobody else. I think it's going to help this coaching staff get those freshmen in the game and then help them in the recruiting trail with maybe flipping a guy like Tristan Keys or bringing in whoever. I mean, I just think that's going to help them that much more knowing that they have a chance to play right out the gate.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. And then last thing on this wide receiver group before we move on in the show, I've got to ask the question to see where your thoughts are on it. So the big thing in the offseason, the reason that Boo originally entered his name into the transfer portal is because he wanted to play both sides of the ball. With all of this stuff that has happened over the last couple of weeks, what is the status of seeing? What do you think the status of Boo playing offense this year is going to be? Obviously, we don't know. We're not insiders. But
Well,
what
no,
do you
but
think?
I'll give you my honest answer. Boo's not even on defense right now, so he needs to lock in and get back on the team before he even worries about being on the wide receiver room. Like, God honest truth, and I think come game one he'll be back on the defense. But as far as offensive talks go, he needs to worry about getting back on the field first and then locking in, and I think he'll get there. But Gator Truth on YouTube, man, go Gators, whatever. Get out of here. But we appreciate you spending your time right here with us, and we love knowing that we're just in your mind all the time, dude. Like rent free.
Hey, Daniel, stick around for just a little bit. We're about to do our predictions for Florida. So
I do have word that DJ Lagway is in a boot.
Yep.
That ain't good. That's no bueno. Billy's job is hindering on that guy. Maybe that's why he's in a boot. Billy's like, you need to get healthy. But no, man. All right, so we're wrapping up the wide receiver room here. Those are the names you need to get to know and names you will know come football season, as they're going to be making plays out there on the gridiron. And Michael, I guess it's about that time. Are we doing Florida first?
Yeah, we're doing Florida first. We got Daniel in here. He says
he's out of the boot now. That's great.
He's
news.
out of the boot now. That is good news.
That's great news.
I'm assuming they're probably going to be kind of keeping him on a shorter leash, a lot more non-contact stuff. I mean, it's already supposed to be non-contact for quarterbacks, but especially now, probably going to take it a little bit easier, make sure that it gets healed up in time for game one.
I never wish injury on any player in the world.
Absolutely not.
But I'm not rooting for Billy Napier either. So
that's fair.
But no, man, I guess that means it's time for our segment 2 sponsor, right?
That's it.
All right, man. You already know it's P&L Business Services. So we know firsthand that getting your monthly reporting, invoicing, bill pay, taxes, and other essential business services right is critical. That's why at P&L Business Services, we go beyond bookkeeping by providing you with everything you need in your back office so you can have your time back and the peace of mind to do what you love most, which is building your business. Behind every successful business is a great bookkeeper. Guys, if this is something you feel like you may struggle with in your business, in your day-to-day, that like, man, your customer service is just superb, but like you're drowning in paperwork and billing and receivables or payroll or anything like that, then you really need to jump online, go to pnlbusinessservices.com and let these folks help you guys out. Because at the end of the day, that's just one more thing off your plate, and you can continue to put the customer first and that customer service that you're so good at, and letting P&L Business Services take care of everything behind the scenes. We appreciate your continued support of our segment. So that is Missouri, big dog. Hold up.
Yeah, I've got to replace this real quick. Florida, there we go.
Gator True said he rooted for Jeremy Pruitt because he was garbage. I guess maybe I should root for Billy Napier. No, I'm joking. All right, is this accurate? Every game on here is good, like correct?
Yes.
Not to call you out or anything, but
yeah, if it's not, then I'm going to blame the Florida Athletic website.
No, I see, guys, for the folks watching, we've got several folks right here on the YouTube, and I love you guys. Thank y'all so much. Leave a comment. Let us know you're here. But for the folks watching, see, Michael started to do something on purpose here. So he purposely messes up a graphic every now and again. So that way when we post the video,
we'll leave it
comments. It drives comments. It's crazy. It's like, man, like if we would have swapped LSU with somebody else and somebody seen that video, they would. I mean, look, we in the click business, right? Like you got. So we heard it. I don't remember what prediction segment it was. I think it was Missouri.
It was Oklahoma.
Was it Oklahoma?
No, it was Oklahoma. I messed up.
It was one
actually,
game.
It was Kentucky and Oklahoma. I messed up the first game of the season for Kentucky. But the one that really had people letting me hear it was Oklahoma. I messed up the last game of the season. It's supposed to be LSU, and it was Arkansas that I had on the graphic. Yeah, the Oklahoma fans really let me hear about that one. But you know what? It doesn't change my prediction. You're still going to be bad this year.
I I think it's a good marketing tactic. I think you should keep it up. Let's take off Florida State off this list real quick, and let's throw in something. No, I'm joking. But no, so we got Florida. Florida, obviously, Billy Napier seats warm. I don't think it's really a question or a surprise about that. I think he's only there because they didn't want to lose DJ Lagway. That's my humble opinion. However, there's kind of a quiet hype around this Florida program going into this year, even with the tough schedule. I mean, we look at their schedule, and right off the gate, I see three. I think three's accurate. They play 3 of last year's playoff teams in this season, right? You've got Tennessee, Georgia, and Texas.
Yep.
And then they play Texas A&M, who's supposed to be a really good team this year. They play LSU and Miami, both on the road. Kentucky's going to be an easy sweep. I ain't even worried about that, even with Florida struggles against Kentucky. But Florida State's also, they're going to be better than last year. But can they handle them, right? So, I don't know. I'm looking at the schedule. I'm looking at what Florida's got. DJ Lagway, I think, gives them a chance in literally every game, and I stand by that humbly. But what does DJ have around him? That's what I'm kind of intrigued to see as the season goes along. But, Michael, do you want me to go first on this prediction segment?
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
How sweet of you.
Yeah, before we get into it, I will say this. After talking with Daniel back earlier, and by the way, I think Daniel is wanting us to talk about some stuff with him next week on a video. I do know they're returning all 5 offensive linemen from last season.
That's great news for DJ.
Yeah, that's great news for him. And then as far as the wide receivers and running backs go, I will say there's some talented names on here. I'm not going to go through them just because there's some of them that probably won't play much this year, but I do see one or actually 2 names I think we'll be familiar with. Do you remember the name Jacoby Jackson, running back?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, Jacoby Jackson.
He was actually a really good running back. I mean, he might be in the running of one of the better running backs, maybe top 5 running backs of the SEC, in my opinion. He was really good last year.
Yeah, and then another name that actually sickens me to see right now is at DB.
Oh, that's not who I thought you were going with when you said sickens. Okay,
all right. Lagonza Howard. He was committed to Tennessee for a little while, and actually flipped his commitment, and he's at Florida now. But I've got a feeling I've got a feeling he's going to see some time this year on the field.
Here's another name that Tennessee fans will know. Backup quarterback Harrison Bailey. Our Lord and Savior. I'm joking. I think it does set up if DJ does get injured throughout the year and Harrison Bailey ends up being the starter come that Tennessee game. I think I'm more scared, honestly. Not because it's Harrison Bailey, but because of the storylines that could come out of that if we lost.
Listen, if Harrison Bailey is a starting quarterback by the time Tennessee plays them and he beats Tennessee,
oh man,
we might end up canceling the podcast. I don't know if I could do another podcast if that was to happen. I'm just gonna be real with you.
I'm gonna just sit there and take it. Honestly, it's part of it. That's football. That's why we're here. But right on. Well, without further ado, I'm gonna be pretty quick on this prediction. Because we've been talking a lot today, and I know the folks just want to see what we're doing here. We do have a comment. We appreciate you, Gator Truth. Speaking of Jeremy Pruitt, Harrison Bailey, that's right. Long Island. Long Island's actually picked up several pieces in the transfer portal. So, I'm joking. I don't even know who Long Island is. That should be a pretty easy dub for Florida. USF is intrigued.
That's where Zakai Ziegler's from.
What's that? You're kind of lagging out on me. What's up?
I said that's where Zakai Ziegler's from. It's Long Island.
That's right, New York.
Yep.
New York. USF. Is that Alex Golish?
That is.
That's a dub for Florida. It better be at least. At LSU. Boy, this gets tricky off the start, man. I mean, this is a big test right off the bat. You start out 2-0, and depending on how you look against Long Island and USF, and I think you could look great, there could be a lot of hype around this game. A very big swing game for both LSU and Florida. And if I got to be honest with you, I'm going to go with the preseason media, which I don't like doing that much, but everybody's high on LSU. I don't think I am, but for the sake of this prediction segment, I'm going to give LSU the win because they're saying Garrett Nussmeier is like the number 1 rated quarterback of this class. I think that's redonkulous, but maybe he's got something that I don't know about up his sleeve. But overall, that's Florida's first loss of the year. I think I'm going to attribute that more on the road more than anything. I do think this will be a close game. At Miami, back to back. I mean, this is not a really good stretch here for Florida, which none of this really is. At LSU, at Miami, and then Texas at home, Texas A&M on the road. Like at Miami, boy, we talk about it every year. Mario Cristobal is just, I don't believe in him, but yet he beats Florida. So it's like, where do I go with this? They do have obviously Carson Beck at the helm. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna give Miami the jump here because Mario Cristobal has literally had Billy Napier's number. So I'm gonna go another loss for Florida. And yes, this is gonna get ugly quick because I know Florida fans really want to beat Miami, and I think they can. I'm just going off of history here because I don't really know too much about Miami. Other than the fact that they have won the previous meetings. Texas, they got a lot riding on them. But Florida, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't play Texas. No, they did. They played Texas close. I think first half. DJ got hurt, though, in that game, didn't he?
DJ got hurt, and they ended up.
And then it pretty much, they ran away with it, didn't they? So Texas is intriguing. I think Arch is the guy. And I think this is where things start going off the rails for Billy. And this is where you just at least hope that DJ stays healthy because it gives you hope here on the back half of the season. But you're at Texas A&M. I think you really need a bounce back win here. And I think that you will get the bounce back win here. I'm not a big believer in A&M like a lot of people are. I think there's a stigma against A&M, just like there's kind of one against Tennessee. I just think for some reason Texas A&M can't get it done. Mississippi State, although I do like their quarterback, I don't think they're going to drop one to Mississippi State. So they get things back on the right track here before they meet up with Georgia. I think they beat Georgia.
Beat Georgia in Jacksonville.
I think they beat Georgia in Jacksonville. Now people are going to look at my prediction and be like, this don't make any sense. Well, it's not supposed to. It's a freaking prediction. I don't know. I think they beat Georgia. I think Georgia, I don't think they're going to fall off the face of the earth, but I think this is where you're going to see the rivalry mean a little bit more. And they played Georgia very well last year with DJ. So, I mean, I think that there is a chance. I'm not a huge believer in Gunnar Stockton, but I am a believer in Kirby Smart. But I think they get the win over Georgia. Billy Napier's seat is well cool by now if they've won 3 in a row at this point. They go at Kentucky. They get that win. They go at Ole Miss. And this one's tricky. I don't know. If they're winning these games and winning them comfortably and they look like a really good, solid team that's gotten better as the year gone on, I think they beat Ole Miss comfortably. But for this prediction segment, I'm going to give Ole Miss the win there. I think Ole Miss is going to be competitive in all the games. I don't see them making a run to the playoff or anything. But then you got Tennessee. You're hosting Tennessee. And even as a fan, I can't predict it. We haven't won in the Swamp since 2000.
2 years.
2003 or 2001?
2003.
Yep, it's not going to happen. I can't predict it to happen if it's literally been almost my entire lifetime since it's happened. And then I think they end the year. I'm sorry, I messed that up. I put a loss thinking that I was choosing my team. So overall, I mean, what a season for Florida. 8-4 with a schedule like that. Now, here's the thing, though, for Florida. And here's where I'm going to stand pretty firm. We like to do this ceiling and floor thing with Florida, and I just did something very rare. I think their ceiling's 8-4, and I'm predicting them to go 8-4. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I could absolutely see them dropping one to Tennessee. I could see them dropping to Georgia. I can see them beating LSU. I can see them beat Miami. So, like, either way it goes, I think their ceiling is still 8-4, and it just interchanges of which wins and which losses they get. But I think it's absolutely impossible for Florida, even Florida fans, to kind of think that they could go 11-1, 10-2 with this type of schedule, man. I don't care how good a team is. You've seen Georgia last year, even how good Georgia was, won the SEC. But, man, when you have a schedule that stacked, you're just going to drop some games, man. It's just part of it. So, I think the ceiling for Florida is 8-4. I've got them going 8-4, and I think the floor for Florida. Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, So that's 3 right there off the bat. So I think the floor for Florida. I'm gonna go 5-7 and be generous, but it could be 4-8. But I'm gonna go 5-7 floor, 8-4 ceiling, and I've got them going 8-4. That is my Florida prediction. Please don't get too mad at me, Gator fan. What's your name? Gator Truth? Please don't be mad at me. That's actually a very generous prediction in my opinion.
Yeah, so this was talking about the Texas game. DJ was out of that entire game. So
he was out of the entire game.
Yeah,
Okay.
That one got ugly pretty quick, but yeah. So 8-4, and you said 5-7 the floor. So
yep.
I mean, it's especially this schedule. I think that's very respectable for Florida this season. So clearing the board before I give my predictions. While I'm doing that, I think that this is without a doubt a make it or break it year for Billy Napier. If Florida does not have a good season, I think that you have to get rid of Billy Napier because of all the stuff going on in the athletic department as well. I think the first order of business, once you get an athletic director in there, it's going to be to hire a new coach if Billy Napier does not work out this season. So he got to have success this year. Otherwise,
yeah, didn't they just change athletic directors, or like their athletic director quit, or what happened?
Gator Truth or Daniel, go ahead and let us know in the comments. I don't believe they actively have an athletic director right now. I think they're still in the process of getting one. I mean, the athletic department, honestly, in Florida right now is a mess. Not necessarily because of, just on the field or on the court type things, but because of just the transformation of going from athletic director to athletic director, some things like that. Let's see. So they don't have a university president right now. But is it not a athletic director too that y'all are in the process of hiring a new one of them? I could be completely wrong on that, but I knew that it was something in the we have the AD, pretty bad hires except for Todd Golding, national title. You would throw that in there.
Anyway, I'm going to still say that congratulations on the championship, but if you think Todd Golding is a good person in any way,
we won't get into that. That's a different podcast. Anyway,
I do think you don't get in trouble. Sorry.
That's true. I do think this is a make it or break it year for Billy Napier, and if he does not, I don't even know if 6-6 is good enough. If he doesn't at least make it 6-6, though, I think you've got to get rid of him and get somebody else. But my predictions here, let's see. And Daniel says we will talk off the record next week about this.
He also said this is how we get clicks. I don't know if that was a compliment or not. I don't know, but I'll take it. I appreciate it, big dog.
You know what? I like getting clicks. So Long Island to start the season, that's going to be a win for Florida. You face off against USF in week 2, Alex Golish and company. I do think that Florida gets a win in that game. LSU, week 3. This is a big rivalry, Florida versus LSU. I love watching this game. There's always a lot of fireworks that happen. Here's what I'll say about this game. I think if you get this game in mid-October or early November, I think LSU gets a win in this one because I think they figured things out. But at this point in the season, I think Florida has got things figured out more than LSU does. And I think that Florida goes to Baton Rouge and picks up a win against LSU in this game. Miami on September the 20th. I am not a believer at all in Mario Cristobal. I'm not a believer at all in Carson Beck. I've got Florida going to Miami and winning this game. They're starting off the season 4-0, starting hot. They've got a bye week before going up against Texas. That game is at home, but I do think that Texas gets the better of Florida.
I was about to say, are you really about to do this? I was even with how far you're going with this.
Yeah, even with a healthy DJ Lagway, I just think that this year, I'm not the biggest believer in Arch Manning, but I think that the rest of Texas roster, I think they right now than Florida does. So I think that they do drop that game to Texas, but it's going to be a lot closer this year than it was last year, especially if DJ Lagway is healthy. At Texas A&M, If this game was at home, I probably give a little bit more favor to Florida, but I do think that Florida's going to drop their second one in a row here to Texas A&M on the road in College Station. But I think this is going to be a fun game, seeing DJ Lagway going up against Marcel Reed, both of them second-year quarterbacks at this point. But I think the home field is really going to play a part in that game there. Yeah. Mississippi State on October the 18th. I think that Florida runs away with this contest. I think they get a bounce back win in this one. They run away with it. Florida's just a better team than Mississippi State. And in a way, I hate saying that because I'm a believer in Jeff Lebby. But right now, he's not at that point to where he can compete with a lot of these teams in the SEC.
Heard.
You get a bye week before going up against Georgia in Jacksonville. I do agree that Georgia is going to be down this year. But I do still think that they pull out a very, very close game against Florida. And I really think that it all depends, once again, on the health of DJ Lagway. If he's healthy for this game, Florida's got a shot of winning this. But if it's Harrison Bailey at the helm for this game, I think Georgia wins by probably 2 touchdowns. Huge. But I think that Georgia wins that game if Bailey's at quarterback. They've got a shot to win it if DJ Lagway is there, but I think Georgia's still just slightly ahead of Florida at this point, so that's why I give the edge to Georgia. Back half of the schedule here, I've got Kentucky at Kentucky. I know that Daniel has some PTSD from Kentucky.
Dude,
the last
Kentucky
decade.
Sucks. Kentucky
the
sucks.
last decade, they have struggled with Kentucky. They lost 3 straight to Kentucky until last year. They finally broke that streak. But it doesn't matter this year. Florida's going to win that game in less.
Look, I understand Tennessee's like abysmal run in the swamp is like really bad. Florida losing to Kentucky 3 years in a row is pretty wild.
Yeah.
That's pretty raw. It's pretty wild, my dude. Like that's no bueno. But I can't talk crap. It's fine. I mean, I can. We beat Kentucky, but it's fine.
So, Ole Miss on November the 15th. This is at Ole Miss. This is going to be a fantastic game that I think really hinges on the health of both quarterbacks. It hinges on the health of DJ Lagway. It hinges on the health of Austin Simmons out at Ole Miss. With a healthy DJ Lagway, which is what I'm basing this off of, I think that Florida goes to Ole Miss and pulls out a very close game. I mean, we saw what happened against Ole Miss last year where Jackson Dart just completely crapped the bed. He choked under the pressure, and Florida pulled out that upset victory in the swamp. I don't think it's going to come down to that. I think that Florida is going to be the better team on the field that particular day, and they're going to go to Vaught Hemingway and get a win. Tennessee on November the 22nd.
How are we doing?
This is one. I
feel that, dude.
I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
I am a Tennessee fan.
Die hard.
22 years. And something always happens whenever Tennessee goes to the swamp. Tennessee was a
Hail Mary,
they were a 9-point favorite 2 years ago with Joe Milton heading into the swamp. They should have won that game by 2 touchdowns on paper.
But we overthrew 13 receivers and
gave up 21 points or something like that in the second quarter.
Yeah, that second quarter was abysmal.
And I can't pick Tennessee to go down there and beat Florida as of right now. So Florida's going to win in the swamp.
Cool. We're cooking. Yo, Gator Truth is loving this podcast, dude.
Finishing off the season against Florida State. Florida State's going to be better this year. But I still don't think that they're going to be good enough to beat Florida this year, especially with that game being in the swamp. So I've got Florida going 9-3 this year. I think they're just on the outside looking in of a college football playoff spot this year. Billy Napier saves his job. I think that Florida's going to have a good year this year.
Yo, so 9-3 with a schedule like that?
Billy Napier.
They're in the conversation. They're at least in the conversation.
Yeah, they're in the conversation. Is he not the coach of the year in the SEC at that point if they go 9-3 with this schedule?
I'm not. I'm done gloating Florida. Let's get off this subject. Anyway, next.
Yeah, so my ceiling and my floor. My ceiling, I only have them one better. I've got I do have them as the ceiling beating Georgia and Jacksonville. So I think that they would go 10-2 as a ceiling. I still see them dropping to Texas and Texas A&M. My floor, on the other hand, and I think this is if DJ Lagway is not healthy this year, if he ends up getting an injury and they have to go to Harrison Bailey or whoever else is on that staff, I can see you dropping that game to LSU. I can see you dropping that game to Miami as well. I think you beat Mississippi State and Kentucky regardless, but I think you drop the other 3 games. So I can see you going from 9-3 to what is that? 4-8 at that point. And that's if Billy Napier, DJ Lagway not healthy. If all the stuff just completely goes wrong for Florida, I think 4-8 is the floor on this one right here. I think that guaranteed wins are Long Island, USF, Mississippi State, and Kentucky. But I mean, I'm high on Florida, man. I hate to admit that Tennessee could go down to the Swamp and get beat by Florida because I mean I'm a Tennessee fan. I want to see Tennessee win every single game. But as a truther, as a football truther, and I guess part of it's my battered Vol syndrome, I can't pick Tennessee right now to go down to the Swamp and end up getting a victory. But I'm excited to see what Florida's going to do this year because I'll be honest, I want to see Florida fail, but I also want to see Billy Napier keep his job. But at the same time, I think Florida's got a chance to be really good this year.
I want to see Florida. I want to see Billy keep his job only if we can prove to beat him in the Swamp. So, give Billy Napier the greatest season ever, sure. But if we can beat him in the Swamp, then yes, he can keep his job. I'm totally cool with that. But no, so we both are actually surprisingly. I did not expect us both to be in the 8-4, 9-3 range for Florida, but here we are. Even as Tennessee fans, and I really don't want Florida to go 8-4. But if I had to sit here and put money on it right now, I think I'd bet on the over right now. I think they're over under set at 6.5. I don't know. I'd have to look at it. But I do think I'd hit the over on that pretty easily, actually. So, all right, you want to let us know who the last segment sponsor is so we can get talking about LSU for a little bit?
Yes, our segment 3 sponsor, it is Kaizen Painting. Do you want a colorful life? Kaizen is a painting and drywall company that provides residential, commercial, exterior, and interior services. At Kaizen Painting, we understand the importance of a beautifully painted home and properly installed and repaired drywall. We're here to bring your vision to life. We care about providing you with a personalized, efficient, and quality service. If you live in Knoxville and surroundings, contact us for a free estimate at kaizenpainting.com. Color your life the Kaizen way. So we got
my boy stayed around. He didn't even care about his rival LSU. He said, screw you guys. It's been fun. Thank you for the clips. I'm out of here. I'm joking, Gator Truth. It's a pleasure to have you here. And look forward to talking to you next week. And it's gonna be a fun season for sure, man. All right. LSU. Holy hype fest around this team. It's insane, right? Garrett Nussmeier is supposed to be the guy. I've been told that the wide receiver crew might be one of the best in the country. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'm telling you, they got the hype around the world. They've got an offensive line that's supposed to be competitive. My question to you, defense and Brian Kelly, are they going to be able to put it together this year or not?
I don't trust Brian Kelly, man.
Never have. Never will.
I think that it's a very close competition as to which one I trust less. Do I trust Mario Cristobal less, or do I trust Brian Kelly less? I mean, I really don't know. I think that this roster, especially with the transfer portal class that he put together, has the ability to win a national championship. And I'm going to say that with full confidence. They have the ability to win the national championship. I don't have trust in Brian Kelly and his staff to put it together and be that successful this year. I don't even have him. I don't even have confidence enough in him to have a successful enough year to be in the top 5 of the SEC, if I'm being totally honest.
Right.
So that's where I'm at with Brian Kelly. How about you?
I mean, I think I feel the same way. I mean, there's a coaches poll that came out or whatnot of like the best coaches in the SEC, and I don't remember who put it out, but I seen like DeBoer, Kirby, obviously, but like you were seeing like Lane Kiffin and Brian Kelly above Josh Heupel at this point, and I'm just like, man, that doesn't even make sense to me. Like, Josh Heupel literally beat Brian. Well, yeah, he beat Brian Kelly, beat DeBoer, he didn't beat Lane Kiffin, but definitely had a better season than Lane Kiffin. And I feel like with expectations, Lane Kiffin's kind of not lived up to the hype, whereas Josh Heupel in almost every single season has outperformed his expectations. So, like,
Yeah,
to me,
Josh Heupel has overachieved his expectations each and every year.
that's what I'm saying. So, like, I just don't understand while they get the maybe they're going BK maybe off the deal that he got, and then also his history with Notre Dame and getting to the Natty and whatnot. I mean, because technically he is one of the few coaches that have at least been to the national championship, but has he been in the national championship in the playoff era, or was it just the BCS?
No, that was the BCS.
So, like, I mean, come on, man. I mean, I feel like I'm getting Jimbo Fisher vibes from Brian Kelly, honestly. If I could compare it to somebody, that's it. And I think the only difference is Jimbo Fisher actually won a Natty. Has Brian Kelly done that?
No, he has not.
Point taken. So no, I don't believe in him. But I went first last time. You want to take the helm here?
Yeah. So LSU's wide receiver group, they're good this year. You got Xavier Thomas. He's a senior this year. You've got a transfer from Kentucky, Barryon Brown. He's also a senior this year.
That's where he went. He went to LSU.
Yeah. So
not a bad move.
Yeah, you've still got on the defensive side of the ball, you got Harold Perkins Jr., man. Very talented.
How is he still in the league? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't seen much from him, especially last year. So what are you gonna get exactly?
I guess he is only a junior, true junior, ain't he? Because he popped off his freshman year.
Yeah, redshirt junior.
Oh, he is a redshirt junior? Okay, right on.
Yeah, I think he was hurt 1 year. So, I mean, you've got talent on this squad. You've got a very good transfer portal class this year. We'll see exactly how I feel about them, which, by the way, did you realize that Michael Van Buren Jr., that he is now at LSU as a backup quarterback?
Who's that?
Michael Van Buren Jr. He's the guy that took over for Blake Shapen whenever he got hurt last year.
No, I did not realize he transferred to LSU, but,
hey. I didn't either until just now.
Whatever. But they start out with a banger on 8:30 against Clemson, at Clemson. I'm not saying a season's made or break, or a break or made or whatnot in week one, but I kind of feel like for Brian Kelly, who's, I think LSU and Peoria has lost 5 straight opening games of their seasons. I feel like this was pretty important for LSU.
Yeah, so I'll give LSU credit for one thing. They love having that spotlight on the opening weekend of college football. And they play those marquee matchups, but they can't win them. And they're not going to win it this year. Clemson, I'm going ahead and telling you, Clemson's going to make the college football playoffs this year. They're going to win the ACC, and they might have no issues doing that. So I've got.
I mean, Kate Klubnik's like a 7th year. I'm joking. I remember playing him under Joe Milton, but yeah, I mean, they've got everything around.
Year.
What's that?
He was a freshman that year whenever Joe.
Yeah,
Milton
I know, but it just feels like he's been in the league for a while. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think Clemson's going to have a fairly easy path to the playoff.
Yeah. So Louisiana Tech in week 2, they're going to win that one. I'm going to stick with my guns on this one right here. I said that they would lose to Florida at home. They're going to lose to Florida at home in week 3. And, man, the feeling about Brian Kelly at this point, it's not going to feel good.
Starting out 1-2.
1-2. Play against Southeast Louisiana. And, if it's anything like softball, yeah, I think Southeast Louisiana wins, but this is football. This isn't softball. LSU gets a win there. Go 2-2 to start the season. At Ole Miss on September the 27th, week before the bye week here. I think at this point it's going to depend on how Garrett Nussmeier is playing. If he's playing lights out like his hype looks like it is, I think that LSU goes into Vaught Hemingway here and they get a win. But I just don't believe in Garrett Nussmeier right now. He's had plenty of chances. He's had to sit behind some people. He just hadn't shown that. I think LSU drops a game to Ole Miss here. And they start off the season 2-3. And it's really not looking good after the bye week, as I've got South Carolina coming in and taking a win from LSU. This is already 2 home games.
Oh, my God.
This is 2 home games that I have LSU losing within the first half of the season. They get the boat rightened a little bit with a win against Vanderbilt on the road, but I think that game's going to be a little bit more uncomfortable than they would like. I do have them righting the ship a little bit at this point. I think that they get an upset win over Texas A&M at home. I think that they really take a look in the mirror at this point, probably call a players-only meeting, something like that. I think they figure something out before that Texas A&M game, especially going into a bye week, and you look what you got coming after the bye week in Alabama. I do think that that game is going to be very close, but I think that Alabama does end up winning that game coming off of the bye week. End of the season looks very manageable for LSU, and I think they take advantage of that. I think you get a win against Arkansas on November the 15th. I think that you beat Western Kentucky as well. And then I think you go on the road to Oklahoma, and I think you get a win against Oklahoma to finish off the season. So this is a very bad year as far as LSU standards go. 7-5. This is not at all what they're looking for. Brian Kelly takes another step back, and at this point, you got to think, do we get rid of Brian Kelly? I mean, he was given a big contract to come in here and win championships, and all he's doing is taking a step back each and every year that he steps foot onto the sidelines here. It's a big buyout, but I think at this point, you've almost got to go ahead and pay that out and get somebody in there that can actually take care of a roster and win games. So 7-5 is where I have LSU. The ceiling for this team, I'm not going to say 12-0 because I don't know if I'm going to have any team as the ceiling for them at 12-0. Any team in the SEC that we do, just because it's so hard to do that now. I think Clemson is still a guaranteed loss. I'm high on Clemson this year, and sitting here today, the only loss that I have on the schedule would be to South Carolina at the end of the year, but even I'm not sure about that. I think you beat Florida. I think you beat Ole Miss. South Carolina game is tough, but I think that you can beat them, especially because it's at home. I'm still going to give a guaranteed loss right now to Alabama, although I think that they can win that game. So I've got the ceiling for LSU at 10-2. As far as the floor for LSU, I'm not going to go too far. I think that you can lose that game to Texas A&M, but I still think that you win every other game on the schedule. So my floor is at 6-6 for LSU. The ceiling is at 10-2. I've got 7-5 though as the record for LSU this year.
Right on. I could see it. I think that's a bad year. I don't even think there's discussions about firing Brian. I think there is with all the hype in the offseason going into this year, if they pulled something like that, I think he's absolutely gone. I don't even, and I think he would even know that. Like, I don't know. I'm going to be kind of quick here as we are a minute 15 into this show. But look, guys, I think LSU's got too much hype.
Yep.
Brian Kelly, I feel like we just know who he is at this point. I don't care what kind of dogs he's got on the offense. If he can't fix his defense, it literally doesn't matter. Now, he's made some changes, changed some defensive coordinators and whatnot, but it's going to have to be dramatic. This team could literally score 50 points a year or a game for a year or a season and still lose 4 or 5 games because that's how bad their defense is. So I'm going to give LSU a little bit more decency than you, but not a lot. Honestly, because I think they win the first game of the year.
Ooh.
I think they do. I think Clemson is going to be a good team. But Dabo ain't that good of a coach anymore either. Hang on.
You know what? That's where I think I'm going to disagree with you. I think
you can disagree all you freaking want.
Listen. I'm going to make this brief because we're not talking about Clemson here, but I think that Dabo has finally started to accept the transfer portal a little bit. He's still not happy about it, but he started to accept it. And I think that with him doing that, Clemson's going to be back up there in the national power each and every year. I'm not saying they're going to win natties, but they're going to be back up there each and every year.
It's fine. I stick with my guns. I think LSU wins the first game of the year. And And then everybody's like, "Whoa, what's going on with Clemson? What's going on with Dabo?" I could see that happening. I think they win against Louisiana Tech, and then they get to Florida, and I think they beat Florida. I think I said that in the Florida prediction too. So I think that helps a lot that they're at home against Florida. So I think LSU starts out a crisp 4-0 as they travel on the road to Ole Miss, and that is where I do feel like they slip up for the first time this year at Ole Miss. I think it's going to be a tough environment, and Ole Miss and LSU is always just like cinema of a football game. I mean, you got to tune into that game. It's just fireworks left and right.
It's going to be a high-scoring football game.
Oh yeah, always is, always is. South Carolina though, USC juniors, I like to put it. I do think they get a win over South Carolina. I think South Carolina is going to be a good team. But I wonder if they call it a little bit of lightning in a bottle. South Carolina is. I don't feel like, even if they got some dudes, which South Carolina does, I kind of the same thing with LSU, which is kind of weird. But I don't trust their coaching. But either way, I digress. Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt. I don't know what to really expect out of Vanderbilt this year. I kind of think they were kind of a one-trick pony last year, and we'll see if they get the ride the wave again this year. But I'm going to give that to LSU. And then A&M, they get to host A&M. I think that's key, but I think this year alone, Brian Kelly just doesn't have what it's going to take to make it to the playoff. I think Brian Kelly's just shown us that. At Alabama, I think they have the talent to win at Alabama, and I think they might even have the better quarterback when they play Alabama. But at Alabama, pretty freaking hard to win unless you're Joe Burrow. So I'm going to put that as a loss. I think they do beat Arkansas, and of course they beat Western Kentucky. But here's where I'm going to throw a big curveball. I don't think they beat Oklahoma on the road that late in the season. You've seen it happen to Alabama late last year. Oklahoma is going to be a team to be reckoned with this year too. So I've got LSU on my prediction going 8-4, which is honestly, if you're looking at it from a broad scope, that's like a typical Brian Kelly season, right? 8-4, maybe win your bowl game, go 9-4. But overall, I think their ceiling is 10-2. Maybe they do kind of sneak by Oklahoma. Maybe they do pick up a win over an Ole Miss, but I do think Alabama and A&M are hard locks for a loss. But I think their floor now, hear me out. This is where it gets kind of wild, man. I got their ceiling at 10-2, and I try not to do this, but let's just say they lose most of the 50-50 games. That they lose to Oklahoma, they lose to Alabama. I think they still beat Arkansas. I'm kind of working backwards here. But I say they lose to South Carolina as well. I think they lose to Florida and they lose to Clemson. With that being said, dude, their floor, I think that makes them 5-7. Does that sound right?
Yeah, 5-7.
So 5-7 floor, 10-2. And I try not to have a big window like that, but man, I could see it. So I don't think they're going to go 5-7, but like I said, if they're not really, Clemson's good enough to beat them. Florida is kind of a wild card, but they could. And then yeah, South Carolina. So yeah, give me 5-7 floor, 10-2 ceiling, and I'm going 8-4 here. And that's going to wrap it up for our prediction segments for this week.
So it does amaze me that both of us are kind of aligned on our feelings for Florida and for LSU this year. That we're higher on Florida and we're both lower on LSU. I kind of felt like we were both going to be similar on LSU. Both of us feel the same about Brian, LSU in general. But when it came to Florida, I've been high on Florida all off season, really. But I'm not saying that you've been low on Florida, but kind of the way you've been talking, it kind of seemed more like a 6-6, 7-5 type season. And here we are. I'm sitting at 9-3. You're at 8-4 for Florida. I mean,
I have this stigma about myself where I feel like if it's ever a team that I want to do bad in this year, they always find a way to do really good. And I think that's kind of the point. I think going into the year, I want Florida to be bad. I want them to be bad so bad because I want to beat them, right? Like that's part of it. But I think because I want them to be so bad, it's kind of like I'm hedge betting myself for free, I guess. But I do think if I had to go against the norm, I'm predicting them to go well. And honestly, if they go well, great. I predicted it. And if they suck, I don't care about my prediction. They're bad. Like as a Tennessee fan, that's a win. So yeah, man, I do think Florida is going to be decent, but man, the problem with Florida is the depth, man. I mean, we talk about Tennessee in the rebuilding years and how you lose a player here and there, and man, they're toast. And Florida's in that position right now. Florida, if they do drop a player here and there, if they lose the running back, if they lose their quarterback, even with the great line that they got, I don't know, man. It could be a long year for Billy. So, or a short year, depending on how you want to take that.
So while we're still live on the podcast, kind of looking ahead to next week, position group. We do defensive backs.
I'm fine with that.
All right. Schedule predictions.
So I kind of chose this last one, but I feel like A&M's got to be coming up soon, and maybe Ole Miss, but I don't know where you want to go with it. Or South Carolina. We got South Carolina, A&M, Ole Miss that are all kind of like jumbled up together, right?
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I'm definitely thinking Ole Miss for next week. So I'll leave
South
it.
Carolina. Okay.
I'll leave it up to you, South Carolina or A&M.
Let's go South Carolina.
Okay. Yeah. So Ole Miss to South Carolina for next week. So I do want to do one other thing while we are still on the podcast here. If you have not had a chance, check out our website. It is volfanatics.com. I try my best, and I know Skylar does as well, to share some of the stuff we put on here, but we kind of dabbled into doing some articles now. And I've got a couple of articles that are on the screen here. So this is the main page. Whenever you pull up, you've got the tabs, the home page. You got a football tab, basketball, Lady Vols basketball, baseball, softball, podcast. You can also have a College Huddle tab. This takes you to where you can see. It actually takes you to the College Huddle website. So you'll see all the most recent articles here at the top, and then a tab here that shows each of the most recent articles per sport. So if you have not had a chance, check out yesterday's article about Jermod McCoy. I'll click on it real quick. Give that a read. I feel like that it really does a great job of showing what he could be this year as long as he comes back healthy from his injury. And then today's article about Deshaun Bishop, that running back battle.
That's right.
I am going to be doing a couple of articles coming up about the other two people in the running back battle, Star Thomas and Peyton Lewis. But Deshaun Bishop was first on my list. Can he win that RB1 job this year? So
Easily.
give it a check. We have here as well. There's a link to our Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. If you have not had a chance to check that out, go check out the Vol Fanatics Show, our website. It is volfanatics.com, and it is also in the YouTube description as well.
Right on. It's been a great show. We appreciate everybody being tuned in. Appreciate the live viewers that commented on the show. Let us know that you're here. We appreciate you. You're the reason why we keep doing this thing. And I hope y'all find it fun to be around. And if you did, please be sure to like and share the show. Make sure we get more people in here as we continue to grow. And a little bit of side news, man. We kind of been holding it this entire show, which is really not good of us because nobody's going to see it now, but that's okay. But for the first time, our show got clipped up on A to Z Sports.com, who we had Malik Foreman on the show a couple weeks back, and he said something along the lines of he would pay Nico, and boy, did that stir some stuff with some viewers. So A to Z clipped it up, wrote an article about it. We have officially gone viral a little bit. So that's kind of a cool experience. Kind of hate it for Malik because I didn't mean for anything that he say on our show to go viral like that, because not a lot of people, really nobody agreed with this take. But I do understand where he was coming from, right? And to give him some grace, if you're looking at a quarterback room right now where we're all discussing like who's going to win it, is it going to be a redshirt freshman? Is it going to be Joey Aguilar who's turnover prone? Is it not a lot easier going into the year knowing that Nico would have been your guy? Maybe so. And I do agree with that take. In saying that, absolutely no way in heck am I paying that guy $4 million to stay here. So It is tough because they're dogging my man Malik on that tape. But I do understand where he was coming from. and in his mind, I guess, sweep it under the rug. Let's go play with our guys and keep it football, right? And it is what it is, but it was still kind of cool. It's a cool story, and y'all be sure to go check it out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Make sure that if you do check out the show on YouTube, give us a subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. Our goal is to hit that by the start of football season. Obviously, that is a tall task, but we got to set goals for ourselves. So if you have not subscribed to the show already, do that for us. It helps us out. It's completely free. It just helps us out, helps get our show out to more people. So do us a favor, go over to YouTube, subscribe, give it a like, share the show. And Skylar, do you have anything else?
Dude, I got nothing else other than go Big Orange. And what are we, 5 weeks away? Not even?
I think we're 4 weeks away now. Yeah. I mean, it's literally a month away from today. So, yeah, ready to get it started. Everybody, go Big Orange.
Go Big Orange.